Vril technology, the Vril bell. Vril bell. So let me show you this. Okay. The Nazi bell. Okay. That's all it is a continuation of the Thule Jesselkraft. I put on my German accent. Thule Jesselkraft. You know, this shit, which is anti-gravity technology. Okay. Vril Society. Okay, the Vril Bell, which leads to the UFO technology. Okay. Which is quantum technology. All this is quantum technology. You understand? And we know that Hitler and them got this technology from the occult because they were practicing, they were doing like spirit worship and seances and all that type of shit. And we know that the United States government decided to do that as well with Project Paperclip. And probably before that. Because, you know, a lot of the Nazis learned their wickedness from 1920s United States. Okay, so Project Paperclip took place, you see the times, 1945 to 1955. And then Project Paperclip, we move into the Manhattan Project. So let's see when the Manhattan Project was. Manhattan Project, where is it? This nigga's there we go. I was about to say, how you don't have the Manhattan Project in this motherfucker? So, when does the Manhattan Project start? 1943, word reached Boyer and his brother Harold that the Nazis considered their families to be Jewish since their mother was Jewish. See what I'm saying? Are you seeing how all of this shit ties in? All right. Oh man, my project gonna be so crazy. Let me see, Project Paperclip. So, here you go. From 45 to 55, Manhattan Project was sequenced from 43 to, let me see real quick. Okay. So the Manhattan Project began in 1939. Okay. So wow, so it began in 39. Okay. So this actually started before they took hold of Hitler. So maybe Hitler and them were far ahead, but it says the project was also charged with gathering intelligence on the German nuclear weapons project. See, there we go. Through Operation Alsos. Oh, okay. I think we found the answers we're looking for. Okay, so we're gonna have to look more into this. Okay, time to abuse that ink. Okay, let me go back up. Hang on. See, Operation Paperclip, Russian Alsos. The Russian Alsos is the Russian version of Project Paperclip. So that's all that is. Matter of fact, let me just get that down. I might as well print all this shit out. Okay, so remember, the Nazis were split up into two groups. And then I guess it was called this shit right here. Let's see what this is about. See, this is the other name for it. Operation also Aviakim, whatever that is. Right? So that's the name of it. It's also known as Operation Alsos. So just in case, you can put the two down. I have to get some books on that. And let me just print this out. So Project Paperclip and Operation Alsos both took place before the Manhattan Project. After the Manhattan Project. And then this was taking place during the Manhattan Project. So they were both looking into quantum technology. So wherever you see nuclear, just replace it with quantum. Wherever you see nuclear, just replace it with quantum. That's all it is. So let me abuse that ink once more. So then usually what I do when I get shit like this is I'll buy like a book or two. So like, see the bibliography here? That's usually the best place to check, so you can buy a resource yourself, so that you don't have to nobody can tell you, oh, you got it from Wikipedia. I'm like, yeah, but like, I read the article from Wikipedia, but then I went and got some books, so can't nobody really say nothing. Okay, we did this already. Manhattan Project. Okay, so let me go back to this shit. We did the Neil Bohr. Okay, seen that. Just hang on a second. One second, let me just pull this shit back up. Alright. Alright, so whenever you see atomic or whenever you see nuclear, just think of quantum. Because that's all they mean. Quantum mechanics deals with the atom, the breaking down of the atom. So, matter of fact, let me just show you. And you're going to have to learn to deal with this stuff. Because this is what the nation of Israel is supposed to be masters over, is like spiritual knowledge and stuff. And if we know that the spirit has to deal with electromagnetism, then you should probably learn how to, master the concepts of electromagnetism, so that you can master teaching the relation of spirit to matter. That's your best chance. So you want to probably study the brain. This is why the elite took time to study your genetics with the Human Genome Project, and then now they want to study the soul. They got matter down packed. So matter is the human genome, the DNA. Now what they need to get in order is the spirit, understanding how the spirit works. So they can only do that through understanding quantum mechanics and how quantum mechanics applies to the brain or the mind. Because remember, with quantum mechanics, it involves observation. So observation dictates the reality. So there's possibilities, right? Different avenues of existence. But depending on what the individual's mind perceives, let's say possibilities are a wave, right? Remember the topological plane that we spoke about before? It's a wave form. Right? That's all possibility and probability. When the human mind or the observer focuses on or intends on a specific result, it narrows down all those possibilities into just these few choices left. And then based on the choice that the observer makes, solidifies the reality into, what it is that you're living. So, the quicker we realize that the human mind is the prison that you're in. So we create the prison that these fallen angels keep us in, because they've created mental prisons or constructs like philosophies or ideas which keep you bounded or keep you limited. But you're only limited by your own perception of what the reality is, so observation of what the reality is. This is why you should understand things like quantum mechanics, and you shouldn't be intimidated by it, because it's important for you to understand so that you can perceive what the scriptures is talking about. So, The branch of mechanics that deals with math. See, this is mechanics. Whether it's mechanics or physics, right? Because remember, math isn't real. Numbers are just energy, which represent a frequency. So a number just represents frequency. That's all it is, a pitch, right? You got infinite, and then you got 1 through 9, which are limitations. 0 and infinity are the same thing. So you learn that when you're dealing with quantum mechanics. 0 and infinity are the same thing. 0 represents infinity. 1 represents 1 through 9 or limitation. So 0 and 1 in the matrix represent infinity and finity. You can't have one. Well, you can have one without the other, but you cannot perceive one without the other. You need the two of them. But hold up, let me see. Quantum. Okay, so all this is the same, right? So quantum mechanics, quantum physics, quantum theory, all the same shit, right? Including quantum field theory in the branch of physics, which is the fundamental theory of nature at small scales and low energy levels of atoms and subatomic particles. So when they're talking about nuclear weapons, they're talking about quantum physics. They're not talking about, because remember, your sun doesn't work off of nuclear fission. That's a lie. Eric Dollard told you about that. Okay, we've been on Eric Dollard for half a decade now, or if not, then next year we'll probably make it half a decade. But I'm pretty sure we've been on it for like 5+ years already. All right, your sun is an interdimensional gateway. Right, it's a portal. It translates energies from the higher dimensions and makes it palatable or digestible for you in the lower dimensions, right? Gamma rays and all that type of shit, the electromagnetic spectrum, this has to do with that. Your perception of light, we live in a specific frequency range where we only see particular things. You understand? Some of us are even able to see other things now, like from time to time. And I imagine it'll only become more frequent. So like I've said, I've explained, I've seen like the shimmering thing of light where I don't know if I'm bugging the fuck out. Like I see it in outline or something, but it's like a shimmery light type of thing, like a Jubilee from fucking X-Men. Like it looks like that sparkly, silverish white. Like I don't know how to explain it. I haven't seen it in a while. But there'll be times where, I'll be in my own thoughts about, like things I'm supposed to be contemplating on, like figuring out this type of shit. And then like whatever book I'm reading, like the outline of the words will start doing that shit. And that's, I'll be bugging out. But I usually don't say that shit because people will be like, oh, you smoke too much weed. No, man. Say some stupid shit like weed makes you hallucinate. Like, well, I've heard people say weed make you hallucinate, but I've never experienced weed making me hallucinate. Like, I've seen the shimmering things when I haven't smoked, right before I'm about to smoke. I've seen it while I'm smoking and contemplate. But whenever I'm in, like, deep thought about some, like, this type of shit, then, like, that shit'll happen. But anyway, enough of me being crazy. But you can see it yourself, right? This is what it says. So quantum is just dealing with atoms, right? That's it. So when it's talking about fucking nuclear this and nuclear that it's just dealing with quantum theory, right? So this guy, Niels Bohr, was the head of the Manhattan Project. He was asked to head it, right? You're talking about Albert Einstein. These are different guys, different brilliant serpent seed people that are getting together and, trying to rip a hole between the time-space fabric so that they can time travel. So wasn't Einstein the one which, going to be on their 15-minute breaks? This nigga stupid. What up, Cole? Man, they just here to hear it because they think it sound cool. Some of them will go look it up, but some of them just here to hear it because it sound cool or it sound technical, so they just want to be in the know. But the ones who go after this shit end and go and actually look the shit up, they'll be able to understand. You know what I mean? It's actually not that hard. It sounds hard because it just, how white people are. White people choose to use words that they don't necessarily have to use, but because it makes it, it's like the nigga could put salt on the fucking meat that he's seasoning regular, but because the nigga goes like that, you understand what I'm saying? Everybody just likes the shit more, and that's all this shit is. It's like, like all them books that a nigga is reading and shit. All of that is just them niggas going like this. It really is some simple shit, but they just have to go like this because if they didn't, you wouldn't pay attention. You understand what I'm saying? So it's kind of the same thing with my page, except I just give it to you in layman terms, and I might throw a motherfucker here or there in there because that's what for some reason that's what you want. You know what I mean? That motherfucker go like this, you pay attention. But if I do it to the maximum of my collegiate abilities, where there's no motherfuckers, there's no AHs, I pronounce my E's and R's, and I do it to what academia considers, a credible way of expressing intellect, the people that I need to reach wouldn't, I wouldn't be able to reach them because they'd be like, oh, this nigga's a sellout. But if I deliver it to you in a way that you feel like I'm not too far off from you, then you can kind of, they're not intimidated by, kind of latching onto my coattail a little bit and then pulling themselves up. You know what I mean? That I don't mind. It's when a motherfucker trying to hold me back, grab my coattail, but you're not doing nothing with it. That's the shit that be pissing me off. Yeah, but that's all it is. So like, and I know motherfuckers is lazy too. So you could very well do what I'm doing, but function the way it's supposed to. It's gonna process the information the way it's supposed to. You just gotta make sure you have the right lens. Somebody else's lens, and it's not your prescription. You as a Shemitic people gotta put on your Shemitic lens. So you gotta put on the lens of your Torah to be able to kind of see things the way that it's gotta be lined up. Otherwise you gonna fall for the shit that they, you gonna fall for this shit. Cause that's literally all it is them niggas doing like that. That's it. Like, I'm gonna stop picking on this nigga. But niggas in the conscious, I'm not gonna say his name, but niggas in the conscious community, not only him, they do that shit too. What's the nigga that look like Saha? He be on Sonetta TV. He look like Saha. He be talking a lot. He don't really lecture too much, but he talk a lot. I forget what his name is. Sankofa. Sankofa is a smart dude, right? But I feel like dudes like that feel like they have to go above and beyond to try and impress you with words, and you can tell that they're trying to do it. You understand what I'm saying? Like, you can tell a motherfucker feeling himself when he using certain words, and it's just like, you know what I mean? Like, a nigga be wanting to laugh, but I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings just because they feel like they have to overcompensate because they didn't go to an extra mile to go and get their degree. And I'm not knocking anybody who didn't go and get their degree. You understand what I'm saying? It's a waste of time. I have mine. Believe me, it's a waste of time. Like, I went to college. I didn't really learn a lot in college. I learned a lot more outside of college. But what I did learn in college was structure. Because what they do require from you is structure. And whether we like it or not, there's a perception for which you have to deliver information. Like, you don't have to do it stringently by their rules, but you do kind of have to come halfway and entertain their rules in order for them to take you serious, in order for other black people to take you serious. If I didn't have to get these other white motherfuckers to see me as a threat, to take me serious, in order for you to take me serious, then I wouldn't give a fuck about what white people think. I still don't care what white people think, but because you niggas care what white people think, I gotta go bully white motherfuckers and intimidate them intellectually in order for you to revere me intellectually, in order for you to listen to your own motherfucker intellectually. and it's pissing me off. Like, that's the type of shit that be irritating me. Because I say shit, I'll be years in advance, and it'll fly over niggas' heads. Niggas be like, yeah, man, you know, that nigga Martin Luther is mad smart. Blah, blah, blah. But it goes in one ear and out the other, right? And then 3 years from now, the same shit I was getting on your ass about, you was telling me, yeah, you know, I feel it. You know, now you impressed with another motherfucker saying it. I'm like, nigga, I said that shit 3 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? How is this motherfucker impressing you? I left this nigga behind 3 years ago. I'm eons ahead. You niggas still on this shit. That's like niggas in the flat earth. How niggas still want to talk about the flat earth now. That's boring. I want to talk about dimensions and quantum mechanics, because this is shit I've been on while I was on the flat earth. But I was waiting for you to be ready, you know what I mean, for you to want it, so that I could show you how to attach 1 and 2 together, so that you don't have to get lost in the, you know, in the sauce. Because I've been doing this shit for a couple years now. So, you know, even like the putting electricity with plasma, so that you get the magnetism. When I first came out with the electromagnetic plasma universe theory, niggas thought I was fucking crazy. There was only, like, as far as I know, in this community, there was only me and another brother doing the electromagnetism and quantum mechanics. And that was me and Minister Enki. That was it. There was nobody else. Like, you could probably say Phil Valentine, but Phil Valentine doesn't really deal, like, metaphysics is a part of quantum mechanics, but metaphysics is a philosophy, the notions or ideas in regards to how quantum mechanics relates to the human perspective and human psyche. Quantum mechanics isn't necessarily hinged on just exploring the mind or the observation in its relationship to the environment. So that's the thing people don't understand. Like, there's dealing with the philosophy of the science, and then there's dealing with the tangible of the science. I can do both. As far as I've seen, I don't know if Phil Valentine can do both. I've seen him do the philosophical, but I wouldn't put him past it to be able to do the other part too. You know what I mean? If you can do one, you can do the other. And Minister Enki does this shit. And y'all should probably try and join his God complex thing for some of the courses, or even for some of the book references. You know what I mean? But yeah, there was only two of us really doing it, and still even now, there's only a few of us doing it now. Like, I've seen a few people over the years get interested in quantum, you know, like theory and mechanics and shit, but it's more for the notoriety. And then they'll scratch the surface, and because they're scratching the surface and they won't go no deeper, because they're not pressured to go any deeper, because none of y'all won't pressure them. You understand what I'm saying? But if you come learn from me, and then I give out some of the information where we go beyond just the surface level, we dig a little bit deeper. When you go back and, you know, you question them, that kind of puts pressure on them to up their game. So it's the same thing with with some of these brothers in the truth. They mad because some of the sisters follow the page, and then they've been able to level up, you know, with studying the scriptures, to the point where, why would they want to listen to some of you brothers? Some of you brothers don't know what the fuck you talking about. So because these sisters know that, it kind of a lot of these brothers, they take it the wrong way. And, you know, they'll revert to 1 Corinthians, whatever that verse is, but I know it's verse 14 and 15, but I forget what chapter, where it says, suffer a woman not to talk or teach or some shit like that. And we don't get down like that in the Torah. So, you know, it is what it is. If you stick around long enough and pay attention, just like you see some of the Torah Tanakh women being able to whoop ass on some of these men who are kind of like trying to throw away what they're saying and not listening to what they're saying, so they can rationalize what's being said. They're kind of being the females and being emotional. It's the same thing with motherfuckers who's going to come at us for explaining the quantum mechanics and things of that nature. They didn't take the time out to build their foundation, you know, to make sure everything was strong before they went on and, you know, solidified their ideas or whatever. But that's all it is. I just kind of wanted to show y'all the link between the Manhattan Project, Project Pegasus, and the Majestic 12. Oh, that's the other thing. I run my mouth too damn much. Majestic 12. Alright, so if you know about Majestic 12, you know about Majestic 13, 14, 15, and 16. And Majestic 16 having to do with your man Aleister Crowley. You know, still we start to piece everything together. And then, you know, DARPA been around since the 60s. I hope people understand that DARPA is not nothing new. DARPA has been around officially since 72. And they've been a part of the time travel or there's a system called chronovision where apparently they're able to peer into the time space and see the possibilities of the future and also check out the things of the past. So it's like this stuff is crazy, but this is the type of things that I've been like familiar with since college. So I had I told some of y'all before, but I had a professor named Michael Koch, and this is probably the best teacher I've ever had, to be honest. Not directly, but indirectly, he's probably the best teacher I've ever had. This fucking dude was like a genius. But I took metaphysics, I think it was my junior year, either my sophomore or my junior year of college, and I took existentialism. So those two courses kind of changed or opened up doorways for me to figure out how to make classical physics classical physics. There's classical physics and then there's quantum mechanics. There's left brain and then there's right brain. There's matter and then there's spirit. They're opposite, but at some point they meet up and they link up. So technically they're one and the same. They're just on two opposite sides. There's matter on this side, and then on this side you got fucking spirit. But here in the middle, they coexist with each other. So that's what this dimension is about, this world. But I'm going off on a tangent, my fault. Majestic 12, what's this shit? Alright, ready? Fuck. Okay, here we go. So this is conspiracy theory. Okay, Majestic 12. This is a code name for an alleged secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials formed in 1947. So you see, all of these years, all of these groups are being formed. It's not for no reason. You understand? The Manhattan Project was formed not too much before that, in 1939, and then officially it began underway in 1942, right? And then you got what is this? Majestic 12. This is 1947. This is around the time of Project Paperclip, which is in between 1945 and 1955, right? What else we got? Let me see. Majestic 16. Let me see. Majestic 12 members. See, Majestic 12. And this is, you can even go to the FBI. So, hey, this is not like it's just conspiracy theory. This is official documents. You know, this is some of the shit I just printed out. So Majestic 12, in 1988, two FBI offices received similar versions of a memo titled Operation Majestic 12, claiming to be a highly classified government document. The memo appeared to be a briefing for newly elected President Eisenhower. President Eisenhower came in when? Let's do the history lesson real quick. I think that's the dude that came in to replace JFK, no? I don't think this wasn't a Batiman president, right? Hold up. '48 election. When did he become president? So I think this is when they wanted to go into war, right? And I think they had to get rid of JFK. Okay, who was the president before him, though? What president was this guy? Okay, Lyndon B. Johnson. Okay, wrong president. Thank you very much. Okay. Oh yeah, Lyndon B. Johnson was the Batiman. All right, cool. Cause that's how I remember that the dude that replaced him is a fag. But you can go to just type in Majestic 12 Vault FBI Government, and you can go look the shit up yourself. You know, it doesn't really help because they blot out a lot. But I printed it out anyway, so you know, when I'm able to give lectures and stuff, this kind of stuff we'll be carrying. You know, so I could just present it to you right then and there. You know. But you can go to the vault, right? You can see who is involved. Upon examination, the FBI declared the documents to be completely bogus and an elaborate hoax. Right? Let me see. There's something having to do with Aleister Crowley. Majestic and Aleister Crowley. Alright. I thought he was a part of... Wait, Magic. Maybe he's a part of Magic something. I know it was... Oh, okay. Okay, remember this shit? Thelema? Right? Just had to do with magic. So, this magic that they're talking about is, again, this is quantum, this is the understanding of quantum theory. So, magic, incantations, sacred geometry. Like if you watch the movie Doctor Strange, they give you a pretty good indication of how science, how the things that they call science is nothing but the occult. It's the understanding of the spiritual. It's the same thing. So like what you call hypnosis, you know, is actually an occultic process, but they've taken it out of the occult and they put it into a field which they call science. Science and the occult are the same thing. Yeah, like I'm showing it to you. It's the same thing. Atomic, nuclear fusion, and all that bullshit is quantum theory. That's all it is. It's all the same shit. You know. So that's more or less what this live was for. You know. Other than that, y'all got some more material you could look up on. And then I'm gonna be in the A on when is it? On the 11th. So I should be there from the morning. And then I got a few people's numbers, so I'll be hitting y'all up when I touch down. Word. All right, y'all. One.